So today we're going to talk about fencing, and we're in the DRYCO yard. We're going to start here, and I'm going to show you some examples of the materials. Walk this way. That's the shop, the fabrication shop. That's where gates are made. Most of the stuff is assembled in the field, but the gates have to be built and then taken out to the job. Lots of different styles of fence. There's no such thing as a common fence. They come in all shapes and sizes and all price range. Your basic fence is a chain link fence. We've got some material over here, chain link fabric we call it. But also it's how you build the fence. For instance, the biggest mistake people make is they don't put a top rail on the fence. If you don't put a top rail on the fence isn't going to hold up. Now here's an example of your standard chain link. This is a gate, obviously, that's going to be installed. A couple more gates over here. Now you can kick it up with ornamental iron. This would be an upgrade. And then depending on what you're trying to do with the fence, like for instance, if you're trying to keep bad guys out, then you go to something like this, which is an ornamental iron fence, but it's got really sharp tips on it that's going to keep people from climbing over that fence. Most of the time what we're doing with fencing is we're trying to keep people out. But again, there's 1,000 shapes and sizes. I'll show you some examples. So here we are in the back part of the yard. We have a lot of materials here. This is chain link. Now, what we're looking at over here is chain link with slots. This is basic chain link. This is vinyl coated chain link. The slotted chain link can be any color you want. It can be blue, it can be brown, it can be green. What we have in our yard is tan. Important thing to know is that you can't add slats to a chain link fence. It has to come with slats because it's a little bit wider. It's specific to fit these slats. So this is what we're talking about, a slatted chain link. Again, and there's some basic metal chain link. Then we have ornamental iron panels, right? And sometimes we have to make the panels. Oftentimes the panels come already pre-made, and so all we have to do is take them out and install them. But this is a bunch of panels for a job that we're going to be doing. And again, they just get installed in the field. Any gates would have to be made in our fab shop, but this would go up pretty quickly in the field. So this is an example of poor workmanship. The people that installed this fence were just lazy and didn't want to get it right. Of course, the slat should be going vertical, not diagonal. That's terrible, absolutely terrible. Pretty cheap chain link fence as well. Here's an example of a well-constructed fence. Slatted fence, people can't see in, top rail, well done. This is the existing fence that was here. You can see no top rail, not very well constructed. And again, without the top rail, it's not going to hold together. So this is about as bad as you can get in terms of fencing, but this is what you see a lot of times. Somebody put some barbed wire on there to keep people from jumping over the fence, but pretty sad example of security fence. So here's an example of a unique fence. As I said, chain link is probably the cheapest form of fencing material, the galvanized being the cheapest. And then the most expensive is the ornamental iron, and this is kind of in between. This is wire, thick gauge wire, and vinyl coated. And so this would be more expensive than a chain link fence, but less expensive than a traditional ornamental iron fence. And it's also interesting to see that this is what they put out front because it looks good, it's decorative, it's also effective, keeps people out. Really hard to climb this fence. On the back side of this parking lot is chain link, vinyl coated chain link. So it's a step up from your normal galvanized chain link. So again, there's a million ways to build a fence. There's a lot of different materials that can be used, and it really all comes down to price. But as I said before, there's no such thing as a basic fence. People would think chain link is basic. It's really not basic, it's the least expensive. Again, kick it up a notch, vinyl coat it. It looks better that way. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to fencing is the gates, right? This is a big gate, automated gate obviously, and that can be expensive, right? So the fence is one thing, but then you've always got to have a gate. In this case, this is a really wide gate. It's automatic, it's really heavy, so you've got to have a good motor to make this thing open and close. And then you've got things like, you know, your loops that open the gate when you want to come out. You know, it's automated, so you've got clickers to get you in. But gates, something that you got to think about that can really drive up the price of your fence. Today I've showed you a lot of different types of fencing, and there are way too many options for you to figure this out on your own. So the thing you want to do if you're thinking about having a fence installed is you want to get together with somebody that knows fencing and knows the options and can go over those options with you and build your fence into your budget. DRYCO's here to do that for you. Again, there's so many shapes and sizes and types of fence, but everything starts with a budget, and we can help you build one.